Heavy metal
My
rock.
global mind.
Are you the one to save me? Are you the one to justify breaking me out of this prison with these chains under my skin to remind me why? Seem to be lost in time, but I guess I'll give it a try. Lost out in the heat of the
I'm Robert Cavuto, and today on My Global Mind, we're speaking with rock royalty, guitarist Trev Lukather and drummer Nic Collins about their new band, The Effect, as well as their upcoming album. Guys, welcome. Thank you for talking with me today. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Rob.
Robert.
Happy to be here, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
This is really exciting. I've read all the press releases. I've checked out all the websites. Tell me a little bit about how the band was formed, because there's so much rock royalty in this band. It's hard to take in one fell swoop.
Well, I guess it all started with basically Nick and I finally getting to meet each other in person. I mean, I was pretty against being in a band again. My last band didn't really, kind of left a little PTSD with me. But Lee Sklar, Amy Keys, legends, legendary people. They played in both of our dad's bands, toured with them. So Lee and Amy would always brag about Nick, saying, you have to meet Nick. You guys have to do something together. And they invited me out to the Forum show in LA. And Nick, I don't know, Nick was like 17 at the time, absolutely face melted the gig. He, to me, stole the show. I was like, this guy's unreal. And we became buds on Instagram. And then I was in Miami, where Nick lives, doing this pilot for a reality show that, the whole thing went to shit the first day. The producer and director literally almost got into blows and cancels the whole thing. So Madison, my wife, and I are like stuck in Miami. I was like, who do I know here? Nick lives in Miami. So we went to dinner with him and Isabella's lovely girlfriend, and we did a little double date hang, and Nick and I nerded out on music and just life and realized that we have a lot in common. And I know we wanted to do something, maybe because I produce a lot, that maybe I'd bring Nick in on sessions. And then the waters parted and the stars aligned, where then Emmett Stang came into the scene, and Steve Maggiora and I were working on something together that then just, it kind of made sense to say, maybe we should try this. And then Nick, you go ahead, man.
Yeah, no, like Trev said, it was like kind of just super random. And I remember I was on the road with Mike and the Mechanics, and Trev hit me up, and he just, we kind of figured we wanted to work together when we hung out. It was, Trev does a lot of production work, and I knew it was like, yeah, a session or something, because I knew he had no interest in being in a band. But then fast forward a couple months later, and he hit me up and was just like, I'm just thinking of putting something together, maybe like just for, a couple tunes. And I was like, yeah, I mean, what do you have in mind? And he sent me the riff to Unwanted, and I was like, I'm in, I'll do it. Absolutely. But at first it was very much like, let's see what happens, one song at a time. And, with Em and Steve, we mixed and wrote 3 tunes before we'd ever even been in the same room together, all 4 of us, because Trev really brought us all together, but none of us knew each other, otherwise. And we finally got together. We all, crashed at Trev's place, and infiltrated his house. And and then we all hung out and met and jammed, and it was like, yeah, this totally works. And then it kind of turned into like a full band kind of thing. And it's been a quick process. It's kind of a pinch me moment when you tell me that, really, as of last month, I'd only met Trev a year ago.
Right,
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
it's
like,
weird.
so much stuff has happened since then. But yeah, no, it's been great. And we all get together out in LA and do our thing, and then it just turned into a full record, and here we are, and it's done, and we're taking it, and playing shows now. It's pretty crazy.
You guys both have diverse musical backgrounds. Your father's same thing. The question I have is, like, when you were in Miami talking about musical influences and the type of music, when did you guys know that you would gel musically and like the same type of music for original music?
Man.
That is.
I feel like we just were on just when we would talk about influences, we were very much like on the same page of just like, wow, that's really cool. And Nic, he loves Tool, man. Tool is his number one,
Wow.
but like, just, and I love Tool, but like, there's fans of Tool like Nic is, and there's guys like me that just really love the tunes that I've heard, and I bought a couple records back in the day. But like, Danny Carey is such a beastly drummer and so unique. And same thing with Phil, of course, but Nic is very unique as a player. Like, one thing that stuck with me is just how Nic is just not your everyday drummer. His approach to parts in songs, especially, I think we just vibe. One, he loved Jeff Porcaro. That alone to me was like, okay, a drummer that loves Jeff Porcaro is about pocket, and obviously Phil is the king of pocket too. So I had no doubt about his influences, when we hung out. But one thing, talking about actually working together, I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but like, is Nic's approach to the drums is very unique and very his own sound, his own place. And that to me what makes creating and writing this stuff, because we all write the stuff together, a lot. It keeps it exciting, especially me producing the record. It keeps me on the outside still. I get to listen to the songs to the listeners still. And I think that's important, because what Nic brings to the table is so much, parts I would never think of in a million years, but they work. And then same thing with Steve and same thing with M,
Right.
But yeah, we just hit it off. The influence thing was there when we were hanging for sure.
Were your dad's friends? Are your dad's friends? Maybe that's a better way to say it.
No, they're not, but the respect is there on both sides, which is really cool. My dad's a massive Phil fan, massive Genesis fan. When Peter Gabriel was in the band, like Dad, those are the 70s and stuff, like that, total nerding out on that stuff. And I guess when they met, I think Pop met Phil, I think it was like early 80s when Toto 4 kind of came out and they're crushing. They went to I think the reunion show of the original Genesis lineup or something. And and then like Dad and Phil had some fun moments together, from what Dad told us, but
that's pretty cool.
I remember when I started, and by the way, just to backtrack, thank you for all that, Trev. That was very sweet, dude.
Well, I mean it. I mean it, bro.
Well, the first thing with, as far as our dads, I remember when I first told my dad that I was starting a band with Trev, and given the background, he goes, "Well, if it has anything to do with a Lukather, it must be good." Like there's lots of respect there, especially my dad, like got very hip to the LA scene and the session scene, and all those guys were just like Mount Rushmore of session music back in that day, regardless of also the great Toto records. And when it comes to influence, I think the funny thing is Trev and I almost bonded over who we thought was good. We never really talked about our favorite like bands. It's only been like, even our last trip, we're always figuring out, oh, you like this band too? And it's like, it was like we had that over Porcupine Tree like a couple weeks ago. We were both like nerding out, being like, you like this band too? This is sick. But I think, from the get-go, it was, we both really liked each other's playing. Like, I love Trev's approach to guitar playing, and his tones and solos were so fresh. Yeah. Even when he put out his your song The Sound, I remember like hearing the solo on that and being like, this is great. And I'm, sharing it on my story and stuff, just like supporting each other as bros, and because we liked what each other did. Right. And then being in a band, it's turned into like, we have very, mutual influences. But then there's also a cool thing is that everybody comes from such a different place too, that everybody brings in a different approach when we're writing the songs, like that we never talk about how it sounds like each band. Each song kind of sounds like The Effect every time.
That's pretty cool.
I love that you said stew too, man, because I always say it's like just a crazy gumbo of influences coming into the pot, and then it comes out being our band, and really having that be a sound. Because Nic said it in previous interviews too, and it's so true, is that we never really got together and said, oh, what's going to be our sound of the band? And but like how unique everyone is in this in The Effect is like really, really has brought us into this cohesive sound, and people will realize that more music that we put out, because the album's done and mastered. So the more tunes we put out, people are like, oh my gosh, it's all, they'll get even more of what we do.
I thought it was very fresh. It's a fresh sounding album too. And it does have your own unique flair to it. I can't say it sounds like anybody in particular.
Oh, thank you, man.
Woo!
Yeah, baby. I thought Emmett's voice, he's a great singer. I thought he's really brings a lot to the table. And it made me wonder, like, because of your fathers, your musical ability, your resumes, Trev was producing. Did you have a line out of your door of singers who wanted to audition to be a singer in this band?
To be honest, bro, there was only one singer in my mind because even the story of meeting M was Maddie and I got married to Peter Gabriel's In Your Eyes, and I think the algorithm of Instagram, which we got to send Instagram a fruit basket when this album is success because has a lot to do has a lot to do with the
Get us a
with our band.
verification mark and we'll send you the fruit basket.
Exactly, man.
Awesome.
And like so M came into the feed and with his acoustic cover of Peter Gabriel's In Your Eyes, which that is one of the best songs ever written, and that is a tough song to cover if you're gonna do it. And what I loved about his is just him and his acoustic guitar and his voice. That's it. And it was so powerful that when I came across because it went viral and stuff, and I came across it in my feed, and Max and my wife was like, "Who is that?" And I'm like, "I know. Who is this guy?" And followed him. He followed me right back, and it was like one of those things where once like he was loving on my guitar videos and what I was doing and producing, and then I was just loving on all the covers he was putting out. But I felt, man, this guy's voice is very powerful and very, very unique, and has touches of influences that you could point out, but it's still uniquely M. And then I got on the phone with him and we talked for 3 hours, and then we just bonded as like friends, very similar to Nick and I meeting and hanging out. Is like, oh man, no, you're a good dude. You're a good person. You're not just a talented guy. Like, and so there was no thought of who should sing, in my opinion. Because when I hit up everybody, it was already kind of like, hey, I got this. I got, Steve Maggiora, Nick. What do you think of this? Check out Steve. Like I was sending everyone's Instagram profiles to them separately so they could hear who was the vibe. And then, and everyone was instantly digging everybody and what they did. So it was really an easy task to put it together,
His voice and your guitar playing really gel really, really well. And you can't say that about a lot of singers and a lot of guitar players, but I think you guys each complement each other and bring the song to a new level. So I really like that approach. And I think he's a good
Thanks,
choice.
Robin.
It's great.
Thank you so much, bro. That means a lot. Yeah, I mean, M and I, we always say, oh man, we got the Mick and Keith, man. Like fucking, just having those kind of moments together
Exactly.
too.
Exactly.
Because there's a lot of bands that and then obviously it's like the Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, but then there's the John Bonham. You can't have it without the John Bonham, baby.
Right.
And
Of course.
Nick's drumming is so powerful too. So it's like it's such a great blend of power, man. That we all bring. It's talk about pinch ourselves a moment. Is just like you get so lost in making the record. I'm so hyper focused when producing and making a record in general. It really, I don't get to really appreciate it till it's done, and then you listen back and then you think, how did we do this? How did this happen? How did this become this? There's a lot of moments like that with this album. It's just a trip. It's kind of like a blur, and then it's there, and it was a great experience.
Well, I have to be honest. I only heard 2 songs. I begged Kevin for more. Give me the whole album because no, no, no. This is not about the album yet. This is about the band, the formation. And I said, all right, great. But I really love the 2 songs so far. When can we expect the album? You said it's mastered, right?
Yep.
Yeah, fully finished.
How long?
Nick, what do you think?
How long?
We're just waiting for the right time and place to put it out. I think in today's market, today's day and age, like you got to play your cards correctly. You don't want to just be another drop in the ocean because so much music is coming out each day.
Yeah.
So, we're still playing the game with labels, seeing if that's the best avenue or, if it's putting it out ourselves. We just want it to come out to a mass of people. We're proud of the record we made. We think it should be in front of, as many people as possible. So we just want to ensure that happens because you only really get one shot at a first impression. So we want to make sure that we can do it correctly. But, we're going to work a couple more singles, I'm sure, until then. Like the good thing is, when Unwanted was released, we were still finishing the album. So you're almost trying to play catch up to like make sure you get everything in time by the time, stuff actually is supposed to happen. So the good thing is we took the last half of last year to just finish it so that now, it's all like, let's go on the road and let's, the record's fully done, which is a plus when it comes to labels and stuff. Cause they don't really have to do much other
Yeah,
than market it. You know what
exactly.
I mean?
And
Promote it,
that's all
yeah.
we need. Yeah, that's all we need. And no announcements yet, but we will say, and at least we'll tease that like there's a full blown like month in the summer that we're going to be playing overseas. So like
Okay.
we're so probably setting up a record to be released around when we're touring is the smart move. We think that maybe, we should find a home at this point that since we are going to go on the road and tour that like we should, have that record to sell,
I agree.
and maybe and putting, a couple of what Nic said, putting a couple more singles out before we get out on the road this summer. And then, but having that push where we can get on those, playlists, the things that are needed nowadays, and getting the marketing and the promotion that we need from a partner to then, but we've been holding back. We got a couple record deals before we even put out a song, and, they were terrible. So, I think now by us building this, and you're a part of that, Rob, so thank you so much, man, for the awareness, is building the awareness that that it's known that we have a band and that we're in full swing, and, then we can pull the trigger of finding the right home.
Cool. Nic, you alluded to this earlier about the right time. I know there's a lot of moving parts. There's promotion, there's setting up tours, and probably a billion other things I'm not even aware of. But when is a good time to release an album, in your personal opinion? I mean, is this a summer album that you want it to be out right before
No.
summer? Is what works?
I don't necessarily mean as a period of time. I mean, there's some records where conceptually they belong, oh, this is a winter album. I guess it's a summer album. I think it's very, good vibes throughout the whole way. I mean,
Yeah.
it's heavy, but then it also gets very dynamic and, a bit more poppy in a way. But, I think for the timing for us just means where we have the right ammo to be able to promote it to the best of our abilities. So like with what Trev said, like if we're touring in the summer, that's a perfect time for it to come out because we're out there actually doing it. You don't really want to schedule a record right as you're about to go into like a stage of limbo or something where you're taking
You don't want to put
off.
it out. You don't want to put it out in Thanksgiving, right? And
No, man,
Exactly.
no.
That's not the right time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know nothing about that aspect of it, but it's kind of fascinating, I would imagine, to work around the parameters of that. When is the right time to put out a good album and do the tour? So yeah, I'm sure you guys know you guys are far experienced, and you'll find the right time.
Yeah, we already have we already filmed the music video for the next song we're putting out, and so like it's already kind of set up to like we're now sitting back being like, when's the right time to put out this next song?
Yeah.
And I think in the next 2 weeks, since a lot is being, a lot has developed for the summer, that it's the right time to start having those conversations, so then we can really start pushing it to have a solid, shot, and then we can be out there working it for the rest of the year, and then just keep going, boots on the ground. Let's go.
Can you
we're
say
road dogs. We're all road dogs here. So
can you say when the next song, the name of the next song?
the name is Toxic Envy.
Okay, cool.
And it's the album opener. It's the faith melter, man.
Cool. I look forward to it.
It's fun.
Now, Trev, you said you produced it. You guys are all friends. You're all buddies. You all work well together. And as a producer, you have a lot of say in how things go. Is it a little bit of a challenge to direct your friends in a certain way?
It's so funny. Not in this band.
No.
It's so.
Nick's laughing.
No, I'm laughing because it's so great of how my respect for everybody in this band is so high, right. And they've shown me the same back, and like we're all each other's biggest fans, so they trusted me to sit in that chair, and there was never, I think we're all on the same page, and for most of any of my ideas, we were always on the same page. There wasn't a pushback. This was probably one of the easiest records I've ever been a part of, as far as the vibe and the trust and the respect. So it was, I'm not Mr. Bossy guy anyway. It was just, but it was really cool is that just the love was there in the room. And made the process so easy, and that meant a lot to me, that the guys trusted in me, and happy at the end of the day that we're all stoked about the album, and and proud of it. And yeah, so it was an amazing experience
So
doing that.
this wasn't a virtual album where Nic did his part, you did your part, you guys were all in the room at the same time for the
No, it was.
Nic. Yeah, sorry, Nic, go ahead.
No, yeah, no. For me, at least, it was, I guess, a virtual thing. Like our process would be that I would, Trev usually would send me a guitar idea, like pretty much the map out of the whole track, and then I would just sit with it for a little bit, and then get into the rehearsal room and just write something. And then once I got somewhere that I was comfortable with, I'd FaceTime Trev.
right.
He'd listen to it real time with me on FaceTime, and then based on how we bounce notes off of each other, any like suggestions or whatever. And with Trev as a producer, like it's very not. And I've worked with producers where it's like, oh my god, like here we go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with
Always hear
Trev,
those stories, right?
yeah, exactly. Trev was almost like, to me, didn't approach it as a producer. It was just, you're a part of the band. We're all fighting the common goal. We're all trying to make a good record. Like there's no egos.
Yeah.
Everybody is in it for each other. So when Trev was making suggestions, like I was like, okay, and I'll try that. And usually they were the right ones, you know what I mean? And I'd bounce off ideas off him. And in general, Trev makes the right call, you know what I mean? So it was super easy, and there's no ego in the band in general,
Right.
but there wasn't that kind of ego as far as like, oh, Trev's producing, like look at this, it was very much like, no, we're all fighting for the band to make
I don't care what you think. Do as I say. It was none of that.
Yeah,
None of that,
Exactly.
man.
Exactly.
yeah.
Play it
And
this
actually, a
way.
lot of
Play
things
it
that
this
Nic
way.
thought, yeah, and actually a lot of things that Nic thought I wasn't gonna like, I loved. I think he was kind of throwing. I was like, oh man, I don't know if you're gonna like this part, man. I kind of went a little crazier. I said, bring that back to the end of the song. That's what
Yeah.
I would say. It's like bring that craziness back to end the tune with. I mean,
Right.
it was always a lot of laughs, and yeah, I mean, simple little tweaks. And Nic was always like, yeah, man, actually, that works. And it was a really easy process. So yeah, with Nic, it was FaceTime. In moments, Steve would come here too at the house because I have a studio here, and then we'd work keys together and some background vocals together. And then sometimes he would be at his house, and then we would do like this real time session where he would be tracking, and I can hear what he's doing and the sounds, and can we tweak that sound there? And so we did that, and then Emmett would always come here to the house and spend like a week each time. We'd have like about 2 or 3 songs mapped out with music. We did it very Van Halen too, man. It was very Van Halen-esque way of doing it. Is the music was done when Emmett came into to track. So so like we already kind of knew what the sound of the tune was to then you properly put the right top line on top. So it was very much that the way that the Van Halen brothers used to do it.
Did Emmett write all the music and the melodies? The words.
No.
Words.
No. Emmett and I, other than 2 songs, Steve was involved in the last couple tunes as far as lyrics and melody, but mainly it was Emmett and I that did the top line together.
Got it. Nic, the one thing I noticed, and I watched the 2 videos, the one thing I noticed is Trev did not give you a microphone in either of the videos. Was that intentional or an accident?
It was more intentional on my end than it is on Trev's. Trev's been trying to get me to sing. I'm allergic to microphone stands in front of me. No, I mean that's not true. I mean, I think the thing is, well, for the 2, when it comes to drumming, it's just easier to play without a microphone there. And when compared to Trev, Steve, and M, I can't sing, but like I can sing my own share.
Can.
Yeah, whatever.
He can sing. we did this like the first time we all did band camp together. Nic say, hey man, can you try this harmony? And Nic sang perfectly in key, And so we're like Nic.
I can do my BVs, but not compared to like when Trev, M, and Steve, it's like a trifecta of just like goodness. So and I prefer just playing the drums, but I know there will be eventually, like for the couple shows we've done, I haven't been singing. I know eventually I'll probably have to start doing it, and I'm down for the challenge. It's just been like, what's the easiest thing for now? So for the music videos though, no, I was like, no, get that's not gonna look cool, and it's going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to hit it on the way down and stuff.
Well, when I come to see you guys, when you come to New York and New Jersey and I come to see you play, I want to see a microphone there. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, man, come on.
It's on it. It's on the list just for
Hey, man,
you.
Rob's gonna be staring at you, bro, waiting for
Right.
those background vocals, man.
Pressure's
Exactly.
on.
I do a lot of photography and I do the review, so I will come out to your show and I want to see you in the microphone right there, you know?
That sounds good
I'm
to
on
us,
it.
bro.
I'm gonna start practicing today.
No, that's
We're gonna put the Britney mic on him.
the headset?
Yeah.
Oh, that's like the Def Leppard. That's like Rick Savage. He always has that little
I'm just kidding. He would never, he'd rather die than do that. But don't be shocked if I busted out. But someone did say a really funny comment when we were hanging, I don't know, last week that really messed up that whole thing, you know?
what they
What
say.
did they say? Like, oh, you got the drive-through. Oh, they're sporting the drive-through
Oh,
mic. You know, I'm like,
yeah.
oh.
Fries with
The
that,
Kentucky
right?
Fried Chicken or something. It was like so specific too. It was so.
It was so on point, and I was like, damn it, because I'm such a performer. I hate to be stuck on a mic.
Yeah.
So it holds me back a little bit. So I was actually considering that. And I still might I might have to say you want fries with that. I don't know. I'm still debating.
You could write a song. You want fries with that?
Yeah. Yeah. Second record.
Second, you mentioned earlier the second record. You mentioned earlier that you had a couple of labels interested. There were crap deals. Did any label come back to you and says, "Hey, can you do a Genesis cover or a Toto cover to help this
No.
song?" Nobody ever said that.
No, I think we've each gotten like I've had times where you get somebody who asks you more individually, like if you want to be part of something like that. But we've never gotten that offer. But I also think Trev and I are very, there's the good thing is we've both done stuff in the industry, so there's a bit more. I guess there's a bit more leverage, not, and that's like the wrong word, but it's like we're not just like people wouldn't just expect us to do that. But at the same time, like we've always been very, against just using the name by all means necessary. Like, we obviously know it helps in some ways, and you can't reject that, but there's also like how much you want to push it, and we've always kind of tried to be as respectful about it as possible, because like, that's not one of our favorite words. That's not sustainable if you're just backing it off like the family name forever,
Amen.
It's
Amen.
true. It's like Wolfgang Van Halen. He's not doing any Van Halen tunes out on tour.
Yeah.
So
And he shouldn't.
gotta
He shouldn't be
respect
doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Everybody's got to do their own thing and their own path. And at the end of the day, like obviously the first fans that you get, that we get or that Wolf got are going to be, fans of your dad's band, and that's great. But at a, that's not going to be your sound. We don't sound, you can maybe say that there's elements of Toto, elements of my dad in the music, but we don't sound anything like that. And eventually you do have to kind of break off a little bit, because that's not what we're doing. And Mammoth sounds nothing like Van Halen a lot of the time. You know what I mean? So, and so I think he's doing the right thing by not playing Van Halen tunes.
Yeah, I respect that. You got to respect it. He's an individual. It's his band, and he should be able to do what he wants to do. So I totally get it.
Yeah.
Trev, I know that your dad was really good friends with Eddie Van Halen. Like they were like best of friends. Did you get to hang out with Eddie Van Halen at all? You knew?
Oh, big time.
Really?
Uncle Ed, man. Yeah, I mean, I
Oh.
grew up with him my whole life, and so, Ed was when you were in the circle with Ed, man, you were family, and he treated you like family. He was a gem of a person. I knew Wolfie since he was born, and Wolfie and we haven't really talked in, I don't know, a few years, maybe since 2019 or actually 2020 is probably the last time we spoke. But I'm really stoked with all that he's doing, and I think with our band, and we'll probably cross paths at one point or another, down the line. But yeah, man, Ed was a gem of a guy. He was always coming over to the house. We'd go over to his place, hang out at 5150. There was this great. And Ed was so funny, man. This is great. There's two in particular stories just showing how Ed really was just so go with the flow, and didn't let things really, especially like material things, get to him. Is like our driveway at the house was very steep going up. Like you really had to be smart going up with the driveway. Now it's fully remodeled and doesn't have the double driveway anymore. But like back in the day, Eddie, we're cul-de-sac too. So Eddie came down with his Lambo one day and speeds down. goes, he does a U-turn, and dad comes out, he's like, don't do it, don't do it. And Eddie like goes up, and the whole front end of his Lambo goes under his car, and he goes up the freaking driveway, and he gets out, he starts laughing, and he puts the fucking front end, he picks up the front end, puts it in the back, like rolls the window and puts it in the back little part. He's like, hey man, let's go inside. What's going on, bro? Like, did not give a shit, you know? And this other great one is when my sister and I with Wolfie, we're at 5150, and dad and Eddie were hanging in the street. I think like Eddie was playing, I don't know, like 7 or 8 or whatever. My sister's 10. And there was a golf cart that would, that Eddie would have going from the main house to 5150. And we got in the golf cart, and, we're fucking kids, man. And and there was this long fence going along the side, and we knocked the gate. His whole gate, this wooden gate, just tumbles over. And Wolfie's like 3 years old or something, he's like 4, and he's just like, uh-oh. And he's like, and dad and Eddie hear hear the fucking noise, and they come out, and my dad's like, oh my God. And Eddie just starts laughing. He's like, it's fine. I'll put up another fence, man. It's cool. Like, that was just kind of like Ed, just very, yeah, man, it's cool. And smiling. And that's the thing, is like, when I play, I smile, and that's not because of Eddie, but it's just because I love to play, and Eddie loved to play, and that's why he smiled. And not a lot of guitar players do that. Everyone's so serious, and to the point where people get pissed that I smile when I play, and that's another funny thing. It's just like, hey man, we're enjoying it. We should be enjoying it, and I'm sorry with whatever's happening in your life when you hate to see someone smile.
Well, you grew up with Eddie. Was there a recognition of how great he was to you, or was it you just didn't it didn't make any sense to you? You knew of him, but I don't know, like if I met him, I'd be, at the time I would be, crazy, oh my God.
Well, it's like it's like, our dads, right? Like, a lot of people are like very huge fans of our family, like, the pops and stuff. And like, when you grow up around it, you don't know any different. It's just your family. It's your dad, or your dad's buddies are coming over, and you don't think about it till later on when you start growing up. You start being, oh, everyone's kind of treating, okay, wait, and they were always fun. That's why I wanted to play music, because they were just fun people that you wanted to hang out with. And you just, I wanted to be a musician just to hang out with them, because I thought they were so funny and cool. So then you come to find out later on, the more you grew up, oh, wait, and understood everything. Oh, these people are like extremely respected all around the world. And people are like freaking out over these guys. But I never got that, because I was literally raised with these people around. So there was no pedestal put up.
Right. You answered the question better than I could articulate it. So thank you. That was exactly the sentiment. You talked a little bit about touring overseas. What's your thoughts touring the United States? Summer?
Nick?
Yeah, I mean, the minute we can, we'll do it. I think right now we're going with the flow and seeing what comes up. We just played the 2 shows with Steel Panther a couple weeks ago, and that was almost very last minute. It was like almost like 3 weeks before that was confirmed. So we're kind of picking up opportunities as they come. I think we definitely want to tour the US. It's just got to be the right move for not, there's hoping people come out to the shows, and then there's also like what's financially viable for a band that's starting out, and because touring is expensive, it's not cheap to do, and it's a lot of work. So just doing it correctly, but we definitely want to. There's lots of cities already that we know we want to hit, and so hopefully we can do that soon. Hopefully as each thing kind of happens, there's more and more buzz that makes that more and more likely to happen this year, hopefully.
Where does the band see themselves playing? Like opening for a new band, or possibly headlining at smaller places to establish yourself?
I think it depends.
I think it's
yeah. Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, Nick, go ahead.
I think it's both depending on the situation. I think the good thing is we've got a big spectrum of music, genre wise. So there's like the really heavy rock set, and then there's some more vibier tunes. So that makes us pretty able to open for different types of bands. I think we're a solid opener to set up the show and get the kind of vibe going. But I think also like we're down to headline our own shows. It's just got to be the right venue. I think like there's a lot of intricacies that we have to figure out about the live rig, where the venue and the sound system is very important. So
Because
it's just always finding the right thing.
we just had an experience where it's like, we can't do that again. It just certain venues don't really hold what we bring, or the sound system's not up to par with what we bring. And, we just have to be smart. I mean, I feel that, as a new band, it's, when Buzz is building with us, that we can bring people to a show, but that's good for us to, to do the opening slot thing is the smarter way when we're building a buzz. But picking up as we tour, if gigs like even with the thing overseas, it's like smaller clubs having us headline in between some shows that are bigger is just a good move for us to pick up, some shows and also, continuously build the bread up to stay out there as well,
Well, listen, I really enjoyed talking with you guys. You guys are fun, regular guys. So thank you so much for your time today. I wish you
Of course.
success. And I hope that we
Thank
can
you,
talk
Rob.
again. I hope we can talk again when the whole album
Absolutely.
comes out. I'd love to hear it. I can't wait to hear it. And I would love to talk more about it when it comes out.
Well, thank you so much, man.
Okay, have a great day, guys. Enjoy.
You too,
We
man.
appreciate
Take
it,
care.
Robert.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one, man.
Heavy metal rock. Global mind.